For most of his life, the traveler believed love was a result, a status actively maintained and continuously earned. This belief manifested in 1,000 small adjustments. He smoothed over his own opinions, forgave slights that actually hurt, and overgave his time and energy to meet every perceived expectation. These choices weren't born from an abundance of love, but from a profound fear of losing it. He believed that if he stopped providing value, people would stop choosing him. When fear dictates how we show up, the relationship stops being a connection and starts being a job. It is a continuous high-stakes performance. The traveler lived with a hidden internal logic. He was always being evaluated. Every person he met was a judge, and every interaction was a test. This turned the smallest moments, a simple disagreement or a quiet evening, into potential failures. To him, an imperfect conversation meant he was failing to be enough. He responded by trying to become impossible to reject. He curated his personality and his responses, working to ensure he never caused a moment of disappointment or friction. He was caught in a cycle where he believed that if he could just reach a state of flawless behavior, he would finally feel safe. He thought perfection could neutralize his anxiety. But external perfection is a moving target. No amount of careful curation can solve an internal fear of rejection, leaving him in a state of permanent, restless exhaustion. Everything changed when he allowed himself to consider a different possibility. What if the people who are actually meant to stay do not require you to become someone else? That question is heavy. If it's true, it means that years of proving, performing, and overextending were unnecessary. Most of us are taught that approval is a transaction. We learn to trade our compliance for attention. But this new idea suggests that healthy love is simply offered, not negotiated, and certainly not earned through sacrifice. The traveler began to see his generosity in a new light. His silence and constant giving were actually tools he used to manage the relationship's stability. They were mechanisms of control, fueled by the fear of being seen and found wanting. This led to a painful realization. If someone is only choosing the edited, performative version of you, they haven't actually met the real you yet. Choosing approval over authenticity creates a specific kind of loneliness. You might keep the person, but you lose the chance to be truly seen. Dropping the performative mask is a messy, vulnerable process. It means letting the raw truth of who you are stand without any protection. Practically, this looked like stating a boundary without a long explanation. It meant expressing a need, even if it caused tension, and letting his imperfections exist without an immediate apology. Not everyone liked the change. Some people were used to the version of him that always said yes, and when that version disappeared, they decided to leave. Letting those connections go allowed for a more honest environment. Losing a relationship that was built on a false performance creates the space needed for real security to grow. The people who stayed through this shift formed a different kind of bond. These connections still required work, but it was the work of two people being honest rather than one person working to hide. This comparison shows two ways of approaching human connection. On the left, effort flows in one direction. On the right, energy is shared mutually. One asks, "How do I force them to stay?" The other asks, "Are we both choosing to be here?" Shifting your focus to that second question changes everything. Relationships stop being an obligation you have to fulfill and become a mutual invitation you get to accept. When you stop trying to engineer the outcome, you find a new kind of peace. Respect and authenticity become the foundation, and the need to chase people for their affection disappears. For years, the traveler believed love meant holding on with a tight grip. Now he sees that connection thrives best with open hands. Your only true responsibility in any relationship is to show up, to be clear about yourself, to love sincerely, and remain true to your values. Once you offer that honesty, the rest is up to them. You must give others the absolute freedom to see you as you are and decide for themselves if they want to stay. Real connection cannot be manufactured or forced. You only need the courage to stop the performance, reveal your true self, and finally allow the right people to choose you.